Good morning, everyone. So let me start this morning with my PhD topic, which is about novel prognostic prediction methodologies in childhood cancer. My name is Petra Varga. I'm a PhD student and pediatric resident, and I currently work with Eszter Tuboly, Mahmoud Obeidat, Tamás Kói, and Szilvia Kisdala. I have a vision to modernize clinical care and research support in pediatric oncology, and for this I have a mission to bring in future-proof global approaches in risk stratification of childhood cancer. I plan to reach these by two specific goals. In the first one, I will compare the prognostic accuracy of prediction model used in childhood cancer. And in the second one, we plan to build our own prognostic model using machine learning. So let me start with my meta-analysis. Approximately 400,000 new pediatric cancer patients are discovered each year worldwide. And in the high-income countries, the survival is already quite high. However, we still have some fields where we can bring in some improvements. For example, the survival after relapse is significantly worse. Here you can see an example of acute lymphoblastic leukemia, where after the first relapse, the survival is around 50%. In order to determine the initial therapy for these patients correctly, predicting the prognosis is crucially important. The prognostic systems are already working well in case of adults. However, the rarity of the individual types of childhood cancer makes it really difficult to develop models with good accuracy. Therefore, we need to put some more effort into building these models and to provide sufficient data for these approaches. So right now, our aim is to compare the prognostic accuracy of the prediction models currently used in the field of pediatric oncology. For this, we considered articles about patients with all kinds of malignant diseases in the pediatric population. And we grouped the prediction models into three categories. The first one uses only clinical data. The second one uses more robust genetic transcriptomic data as well. And the third category uses the same type of factors, but during the establishment of the model, they use some kind of artificial intelligence method. Our hypothesis is that the new generation models will perform better, especially the AI-based ones. If we could improve the prognostic accuracy, I think we could improve precision care and survival as well. I conducted my systematic search at the end of last year, and after the selection of the original articles and the references, I have a little more than 300 eligible articles. As outcome measurements, for the primary outcome, we chose the area under the receiver operating characteristic curve, which shows us both the specificity and the sensitivity of the models. And we grouped the outcomes based on, we grouped the articles based on the outcome they tried to predict. So as you can see, we had several types of event-free survival and overall survival. And we planned three kinds of subgroup analysis, and we also have a secondary outcome, which is the concordance index. So here you can see my first forest plot. This shows us the articles that try to predict the 1-year overall survival in the population of non-central nervous system solid tumor patients, with all three kinds of model types. Generally, I can say that on the forest plots that I will show you today, all the articles are retrospective cohort studies and are about populations of which the majority is below the age of 21. And on all the plots, you will see the area under the curve. This area is, if it's 1, then it means that the model performs perfectly. And if the bigger the area is, the better the model performs, really. So generally in this field, you can say that if it's above 0.75, the model performs well, and if it's above 0.85, the model performs excellently. So in this case, you can see that there is not really a big difference between the model types. So this is my second plot. This is the plot with the most articles because the 5-year overall survival is a very commonly used outcome measurement when deciding the protocol that will be used. And this is also about non-CNS solid tumor patients. And here the data shows us the tendency that we expected in our hypothesis, that the more modern the model is, the better the accuracy is. Based on this data, you can say that the AI-based, so it's visible that there is significantly less articles available in that are about AI-based models, but already you can see that they perform really well. So I think it can be suggested to explore this area further and to try to develop more of these models. Here I have a bit different outcome. This is the overall event-free survival. Overall here means that it's not time-dependent, and event-free survival means that it's not just about, so the outcome is not just death, but also relapse, recurrence, progression, and metastasis. And here there's also not a significant difference between any of the model types. I think the biggest strength of our project is that it provides a really broad overview of different types of childhood cancer through a high number of articles and outcomes. But we do have limitations. I would highlight that the heterogeneity of the prognostic models is really high. So in my first project, I'm currently at the phase of risk of bias analysis. Now, in the remaining time, I would like to talk about my second project, which will be about building a prognostic model. So as I mentioned before, the AI models that were done with the adequate methodology perform really well regarding the accuracy, but we only have a few studies available in this field. So one solution for this that I have seen in the literature is that they train the model on adults and validate it on children. However, you can see on this, so the first figure that I have is about a model that is both trained and validated on children, and the second one is about a model that is trained on adults and validated on children, and you can see that the accuracy is a lot worse in case of the second one. So we think that we should rather harness the data advantage of national registries. So now our aim is to build an accurate prognostic model for childhood cancer using a machine learning approach in order to support the clinical decision of risk stratification. For this, first, we plan to use the Hungarian Pediatric Oncology Network Registry, and we also have an industry partner, Turbine AI, who will help us with the AI parts of this project. The Hungarian Pediatric Oncology Network Registry was established in 1974, and it contains up-to-date data on a lot of different outcomes for the patients, and which is important for us that it contains standardized data types for model building, which are useful for us. Right now, you can see a few examples here. So first, we asked for the data on the neuroblastoma and the central nervous system tumor patients since 2016. And this registry, apart from this registry, we plan to use some molecular genomic data from the Department of Pathology, and we try to merge these databases to build our own model. So currently, we are at the phase of data cleansing. And to sum up, I plan to finish both of my projects by the end of winter. And I would like to thank you for your attention with a quote: "The difficulty lies not so much in developing new ideas as in escaping from old ones."
Do you have any idea why AI prediction models don't perform, or seemingly don't perform better than other ones? Thank you.
Yes, I think usually the reason is you can see, I think my plots are very small, but so usually there is a clear division in the articles, and the first half is using AI technology, but only uses, for example, uses a few types of clinical factors. So it doesn't really utilize the AI methodology. And the other problem is usually that the population is very small. And and one other thing, sometimes that the division is caused by, so you know that there is internal and external validation. If they, so the internal validation is when they use the same population for the training and for the validation as well, just separated somehow. And external is that they use a different one. And of course, it's very obvious that external validation performs worse. So sometimes it's this can be the reason for because for the AI models they usually do an external validation, and for the genomic models, so the second type, sometimes they try to make a good model but only validate it internally so it performs better.
You mentioned subgroup analysis. Can you tell me a few words why did you choose to analyze these outcomes and how did you group them?
Yes, I will go back to that slide. So the three type of subgroup analysis that we plan is, the first is just what I mentioned before, the type of validation that will be done by, so internal and external validation will be grouped separately so that we can show that sometimes there is a bias if internal validation is done and not external one. And the second one is the treatment as prognostic factor, because there were some articles where they tried to do a nomogram and they included some kind of treatment as prognostic factor, which can also cause bias. So we will do an analysis where we will exclude these articles. And the third one is, we will try to find the factors that they initially examined, whether they are prognostic or not, in case of the AI-based models, because that can be also informative. Just for what I also told Marci, that if they only use a few factors, it doesn't really matter if they use AI or not, because the initial factors are not so broad, so it won't really perform better than the clinical ones.